I've been holding off on this segment for a little while, mostly because it's so incredibly dense with cringe and lies. I've had to prepare myself mentally for having to listen to these people speak. But now's the time, and we finally need to do it, and unfortunately I need to put my chat, and you as well, through this unimaginable suffering that is listening to conservatives and having to take them seriously when they speak. Because as sad as it is, these people are dangerous, and I'm going to explain to you why. A couple of days ago now, about a week ago now, Matt Walsh decided that no longer is he going to be sitting on the sidelines. No longer is he going to be passively hating trans people. He needs to go all in. People didn't really watch his movie. More people pirated it than watched it, and I definitely didn't pirate it. I did watch it, but I definitely didn't pirate it. I bought it legally from Daily Wire. I legally purchased it from Daily Wire, just like everyone else did. And the people that did watch it, a lot of those people didn't take it too seriously, or they didn't do much about it. And so he decided that enough is enough, and he's going to be using his big brain of investigative skills to finally take on trans people at the heart, where they get healthcare. And so a couple of days ago, he made a really big tweet. I didn't see anything about it until very recently, but this is the tweet that he made. Breaking! My team and I have been investigating the transgender clinic at Vanderbilt here in Nashville. Vanderbilt drugs, chemically castrates, and performs double mastectomies on minors. But it gets worse. Here's what we found. Let's start from the beginning. And so he said, and so all of this is about how he found out that the Vanderbilt practices healthcare for some people who are trans, right? And some of those people are minors as well. So what he did is he found like old clips that they posted to their YouTube channel. He found this type of stuff about the trans buddy system, which is basically a little system that says, like, if you're scared to go to like a doctor's office or you don't think that you can stand up for yourself, then they have trans representatives there to help guide you through talking to a doctor about like being trans and what that means and the pitfalls that can happen when you can fall into when talking to doctors, since a lot of it is reasonably new and not all doctors are trained well on this. And so they made like a little trans buddy system. It's incredibly interesting. Trans buddies are available for children too. Oh man, somebody that can help guide children through difficult medical decisions and times in their life. Oh, how evil. Gender affirming hormones. So basically he just went through a bunch of like PowerPoints and everything, and he just pointed at things that are like factually true about the world, that like trans people exist, and then he's soy facing and getting really mad at them. And he's talking about how these people are so evil and cringe for butchering children or something and cutting off their pee for political gain or something. They keep using this term chemical castration. I don't think they know what that means. Hormone therapy is not chemical castration. You can still reproduce on hormone therapy, but okay. With that being said, that doesn't stop Tucker Carlson from looking at this, because he spends a lot of his time finding things to talk about and getting mad about on Twitter. And so he found this big tweet by Matt Walsh, and he decided, man, I need to bring this guy on. And so he wanted to talk about a little bit about his incredible investigative research into this next children's hospital that conservatives have their eyes on.
As we told you, Matt Walsh is the man who broke the story about Vanderbilt's abuse of children. He just met with Tennessee state lawmakers, Representative William Lamberth, State Senator Jack Johnson. They say they're working on a bill to shut this program down at Vanderbilt. Can't come soon enough. Matt Walsh joins us tonight. Matt Walsh, thank you so much. And for, among other things, illustrating how journalism can be a force for good, I think yours has been. Have you spoken to anyone at Vanderbilt Hospital about this directly?
Well, Vanderbilt Hospital, I mean, we reached out for a statement when we first published the report, and at first they didn't want to give a statement, and they actually just took down, as you mentioned, they just deleted. That's what people have to understand. They deleted their entire transgender clinic website. They wiped it from existence. And then today, not to us, but in general, they released a statement. And the interesting thing about the statement they released is that they do not, while they start by claiming there's misinformation and so on, they don't actually factually dispute anything in my report, because they can't, because everything that I said wasn't me saying it. I was just providing video evidence, much of which you played there.
So that's not true. And you know what? Not only will I tell you that it's not true, we'll prove that it's not true, because As unfortunate as it is, you know what this means? We're going to have to watch what was actually in the segment. So let's get down to business. So a couple of days ago, Tucker Carlson put together this monologue where he threw together basically everything that Matt Walsh threw together in his tweet. And he decided to make an entire segment out of it. It's like a TV syndicated reactive YouTuber type thing. It's very interesting. How he apparently didn't have anything worthwhile to talk about, but he decided to take 10 minutes to talk about this. So let's see what he had to talk about, and let's pick it apart piece by piece.
CSF, despite its august reputation, is not even trying to behave responsibly with children who've been convinced by TikTok they should change their sex. So a new trend comes along, propelled by social media. It didn't exist before at scale. Now it does. Rather than pausing and asking, what is this and how can we help the children, they blow right past it.
So incredibly interesting thing. Two things here. TikTok did not invent being transgender. I know like a lot of conservatives want to believe that gay people, trans people, non-binary people, pronouns, blue hair, and the sort just spawned into existence in like 2015. But I can promise you that's not the case. There were large studies on trans people before that, and we'll prove it by even some of the studies that Tucker Carlson even talks about are far before the time when TikTok was even an idea. But there was a lot of people who were transgender. About like 2% of the population is transgengar, and that is not changed too much, honestly. And the most people who do come out as trans, those people are non-binary, and a lot of those non-binary people don't get any gender affirming care in the sense of like hormones or surgery. So that hasn't changed too much, but it's not like the facts or truth is going to stop Tucker Carlson from any of this. That on top of the fact of saying, whoa, why don't we stop and figure out how to help these kids? They did. They did. That's why there's hundreds of studies on being trans, and from medical professionals to psychiatrists and psychologists to endocrine system doctors and pediatricians, and all through the board. All of these people came together to think about how to help children. Tucker Carlson isn't thinking about how to help children. Tucker Carlson is thinking about how this is wrong and weird and strange, and so it needs to be stopped. It's devious behavior, so it needs to be stopped. It has nothing to do with actually helping children. Tucker Carlson is a man who needs to help himself before he tries to help anybody else.
UCFS Hospital's current guidance for treating so-called transgender youth is this. We got this right from their website. Quote, as youth are transitioning at increasingly younger ages, genital surgery is being performed on a case-by-case basis more frequently in minors. Genital surgery on children. This is a very big step. It's irreversible. So you wonder, what is the medical basis for this? Well, a few sentences later, UCFS Hospital admits that there is no medical basis. Instead, quote, in the absence of solid evidence, providers often must rely on the expert opinions of innovators and thought leaders in the field. So UCSF is conducting genital surgeries on minors based on, quote, thought leaders in the field?
No. And I'll prove that to you because I actually have the exact thing that he pulled up to get this information. So here is this. Here is the University of California, San Francisco, guidelines for primary and gender affirming care for transgender and gender non-binary people. And this was written, second edition, published in 2016. And this is about a 200-page document. It's 199 pages. And it's filled with a bunch of incredibly interesting stuff on how they take care of trans people, on how to deal with people of all ages, shapes, and forms. But they didn't really care about any of that and why they believe all of these things and how they get to the position of why they think this care is good. This document covers literally all of that. But instead of worrying about anything in there, because truth is something that can bog down your narrative, he goes to page 198 at the very end of this entire thing. And he reads some of the last sentences in the entire packet, in the entire PDF file about transgender people. So this very bottom thing here is specifically about surgeries and transgender youth. And so this is not connected to this. And this is what he read at the very ending, which is the editor's note. The editor's note is something for the entire PDF file. It's not for just surgeries and interventions. It is specifically for the entire thing. That's why there's only one. There's only one editor's note at the very end of all of this. And it says, gender affirming care for transgender youth is a young and rapidly evolving field, and in the absence of solid evidence, providers must rely on expert opinions from innovators and thought leaders in the field. Many of these experts' opinions are expressed in the youth guideline. 4 primary authors for this youth protocol represent many years of expertise in clinical care and research, both academic and community practice settings, and within disciplines of adolescent medicine, pediatric endocrinology, family medicine, and advanced practice nursing. So can you tell me, chat, do you guys think that what is this? Adolescent medicine, pediatric endocrinology, family medicine, and advanced practice nursing sounds like just random people on YouTube and TikTok? Is that the same thing to you? Has the pandemic made conservatives so skeptical of your average doctor that they think now experts who spent their entire lives studying this are now just normal random people on TikTok or something? These are completely different things. And this, even though they sit next to each other, are not about the same things. They have research to back up why they would be doing some genital surgery on some minors. There's a reason for why they do it. The thing is, conservatives don't really care about that reason. They just think it's icky and weird. And so they don't think that it should be done. But there's a big problem. Whatever happened to facts don't care about your feelings. Something can make you feel uncomfortable. Something can make you feel upset. You don't like something. You can even have valid concerns. I think it's fine to have valid concerns about gender surgery, for genital surgery for minors. I think that's a valid thing to be concerned about. But not in the way that Tucker Carlson's concerned about it. He's not concerned about it for the safety of children. We'll talk about his thoughts when it comes to children and safety. I can promise you it's not very good. But these are two incredibly different things. These people are experts. That's why they're writing these pages. That's why they're writing these papers and doing these studies to figure out what's right. What do we do? And the problem with conservatives and many conservatives these days is they don't really care about necessarily what's right. It just feels wrong. And so what's right, if it feels wrong, is something that shouldn't be done, which is not okay at all. And that's why they should shut the fuck up about a lot of this stuff. Both Endocrine Society guidelines and World Professional Association of Transgender Health standards for care version 7.0 recommend deferring genital surgery for both trans-masc and trans-femme youth until the age of 18. And then it goes into thing that he read. So remember how he's like, this is how they think about it. Remember how he just completely left out this part about how the vast majority of surgeries for these people are deferred until they're 18, but sometimes on a case-by-case basis, that can be changed because that's medicine. Not everybody is going to fall into the same range. Not every kid is a fucking dumbass and needs to live with their parents until they're like, however old. Some children can be emancipated by the time they're like 16, 17. And that's the time when a lot of these surgeries would happen, when the time that you have the option of being emancipated yourself, right? And honestly, if the parents refuse to go with proper healthcare for their children, I think there's a good reason for kids to be emancipated from their parents. But it's not like he really cares about any of this. We move on.
What does that mean? Well, it means the Human Rights Campaign is in favor of it. It means activists are pushing it. It means there's no scientific data to justify it.
Incredibly wrong.
This is horrifying. Why is this happening? And how widespread is it? No one seems to be interested. Virtually alone in our media, Matt Walsh of the Daily Wire decided to find out the answers to those questions. And in that search, he obtained this video. It's from 2018. The video shows a physician called Shane Taylor from Vanderbilt University Medical Center, which, like UCSF, has a global reputation for excellence. In this video, Taylor explains that Vanderbilt performs gruesome sexual surgeries on children. Why? Because those surgeries make Vanderbilt money.
Now, remember when this hospital is known for their excellence? Do you think that this was unknown when they were rated as having an excellent, when they were rated for excellence? Do you think that you're the only person that figured out that they had a center for specifically trans healthcare? Do you think that nobody knew this? That you're the only, the multi-millionaire like sit down talking head and the YouTuber Matt Walsh were the only people that knew that Vanderbilt was providing trans healthcare? Really? It's almost like they had that level of excellence through while going through their guidelines for transgender healthcare. And it seems like not only that they do a great job at it and they're very diligent in their work. But who cares about that? That's too much to think about.
Some of our BUMC financial folks in October of 2016, starting a couple years ago, put down some costs of how much money you think each patient would bring in. And this is only including top surgery. This doesn't include any bottom surgery. And it's a lot of money. These surgeries make a lot of money. So female to male chest reconstruction could bring in $40,000. A patient just on routine hormone treatment, who I'm only seeing a few times a year, can bring in several $1,000s. That requires a lot of visits and labs. It actually makes money for the hospital.
Oh, it makes money.
True. Unfortunately, hospitals are businesses. I don't want them to be businesses. I would love it if hospitals wouldn't have to worry about making money. But yeah. Do you think they do pediatric surgery for free? Genuinely curious. Does anybody think that doctors do pediatric surgery for free? Do you think that when they were a little kid and they went to the doctor's office, is that you could just like walk in, if you live in America, get like a sit down appointment with your pediatrician and then like walk away? No, it costs money. Okay. COVID vaccines. Yeah, it would bring in a little bit more business for the hospitals. That's true. Cancer, treating cancer, that brings in a decent amount of money too. Do you think that doctors like force you to get cancer or try to give you cancer so they can make more money off of you? Simply acknowledging that a surgery brings in money is not like groundbreaking reporting. Obviously, it makes money. They're a business. Yeah, big cancer. Yes, we all know that doctors don't want to cure you of cancer because chemotherapy treatments bring in a lot of money for hospitals. So, man, what? Shut the fuck up, dumbass. Oh, we all know that after you turn 30, that there's no reason to go in to get a colonoscopy because the doctors only want you to get a colonoscopy because it's just going to bring in a lot more money. No, you should get a colonoscopy. Check your butthole. There can be cancer in there. Okay? That's real. It brings in money and it's also real. These two things don't have to be opposite of each other. Okay? I want to go to the doctor. I got I want to be able to get a healthcare checkup sometime. Okay. And you know what? At the end of that, I'll probably be spending like $150. Yes, it makes them money, but they're still doctors at the end of the day. They are sworn to do no harm. And if you can prove that any of these people are doing harm, I'd love to see it. But I highly doubt Tucker Carlson has any of that information.
So this huge new trend appears, again, driven not by medical research.
Trans people were invented in 2015. They didn't exist any time before that. We all know this.
But by social media, convincing children they can
George
change their
Soros
sex.
and the globalists invented trans people.
Pausing and asking once again, how do we help these children? What is this? Decides,
the World Economic Forum invented pronouns. We all know this is true.
Now, it's hard to believe that everyone at Vanderbilt Hospital could possibly be for this, because it's completely irresponsible and wrong. So what would happen if a physician at Vanderbilt, a conscientious objector, disagreed with mutilating children for profit? That's a key question. So another doctor called Ellen Clayton explained what would happen. Again, this video we're about to show you has also been around since 2018, but no one in the media cared to look at it until Matt Walsh found it this week.
It's because it doesn't matter. None of this matters, okay? What they're looking at is the company, what they're looking at is the business of a hospital saying, we provide services and people pay for it. One of those services is trans healthcare, and it also provides money. I would imagine if they didn't bring in money that they wouldn't exist because, they're a business, but whatever, I guess. Comrade Tucker Carlson wants to socialize the means of healthcare. I love to see you, brother.
If you were going to assert conscientious objection, you have to realize that is problematic. You are doing something to another person, and you are not paying for the cost for your belief. I think that is a real, I think that's a real issue. But I just want you to take home that saying that you're not going to do something because of your conscientious, because of your religious beliefs, is not without consequences. And it should not be without consequences. And I just want to put that out there. We are given enormous, if you don't want to do this kind of work, don't work at Vanderbilt.
Oh, so if you object to this, leave. You can't work at Vanderbilt. Quote. So Vanderbilt.
Pause. Shut the fuck up. Okay. For one, does anybody here know what a conscientious objection is? Does anybody even know what that is? Because it seems like Tucker Carlson doesn't know what that term means. Everybody in that room knew what the term conscientious objection means. Tucker Carlson doesn't. A lot of conservatives don't. But a conscientious objection is simply an objection that you make based on your own personal morals. Your, in other words, feelings. A conscientious objection means that you are objecting to something based on your own personal moral grounds and or feelings about doing a certain thing. And so you say, I don't want to do this because I don't feel like it makes me uncomfortable. I think it's icky and it makes me upset. That's what a conscientious objection is. And so Tucker Carlson is now going to get mad at doctors getting upset at other doctors for not doing real life-saving healthcare on patients because it makes them feel bad. I'm not gonna lie to you. If I went to a doctor and I had like an illness or something, I had a bacterial infection and I needed antibiotics, but my doctor didn't want to give me the antibiotics because it would make them feel bad, I would want to go to another doctor. Okay. A conscientious objection is not, I'm objecting because this is wrong and here's my data to prove it. A conscientious objection only means that you don't like how it's going. It makes you feel bad, and so you don't want to continue doing your job anymore. That's what a conscientious objection is. It's simply like the idea is you can just refuse things basically because it hurts your feelings, right? And so Tucker Carlson's going to conflate not doing your job as a doctor because it hurts your feelings with not doing your job as a doctor because you have some secret evidence that being trans is actually evil or something and is and should not be done.
Clearly thought this through. Not everyone's going to be for this, so let's just make it really, really clear. If you're not fully on board with sexually mutilating children for non-medical reasons on the basis of no medical evidence, then you just leave. But that wasn't enough. They anticipated that this is so horrifying that some doctors might still step out of line. They might tell 16-year-olds that they have a psychological disorder, or this will pass, or maybe stop watching so much TikTok. And no, we're not going to mutilate your genitals or cut your breasts off.
TikTok did invent trans people. Once again, I'm glad that he keeps saying it. It is true. Trans people did not exist until TikTok came around.
At least until you're an adult. But if they said that, that would, of course, hurt the business model. So Vanderbilt recruited trans activists, to bully physicians into submission. Watch.
Everybody provides trained peer advocates for transgender patients who are coming for doctor's appointments or other healthcare-related services. Whether you're looking for something that's related to medical transition, such as hormone therapy, or something completely unrelated, like breaking an arm or going to an ENT, we are here to help support any transgender patients that come through our doors. The Trans Buddy program is a one-of-a-kind in the nation, and institutions are looking to Vanderbilt to replicate and expand programs like ours.
Did that sound like bullying to you? Is that bullying? Are we shocked? I feel like a lot of people would really like that, honestly. But I know a lot of you guys are scared to go to the dentist or the doctor. You know, don't you think it'd be nice to be like, hey, I'm your buddy. I can take you. I can help you go there. I can no bully. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think that a trans person is going to put a pediatrician in a tombstone pile driver if they said that they're not going to be giving her out testosterone or something? What do you think is going to happen? Do you think that they hold them by the ear? What are you talking about? Bullying, coercion? How would they be coerced by the trans buddy there? What's the mechanism that they hold over them? Huh? What's happening? I'm genuinely shocked.
Oh, trans buddies. Right. Enforcers, in other words. It's like...
Somebody to hold your hand when you get a broken arm? Enforcer is what you mean. Oh, gender police is what you're saying. They're there to kill the physician if they do not listen to you. Wow.
Like having the mafia standing over your shoulder while you're on the witness stand.
It's the LGBT
Doctors
mafia.
Should be.
It's the alphabet mafia. It's the League of Letters, the alphabet mafia. They're here. They're in force. They're scary. I can't even imagine.
In fact, have to be allowed to give politically unbiased counsel to their patients without being intimidated. But the whole point of a trans buddy.
Right. That's why you shouldn't be doing this shit, Tucker. That's why you shouldn't be doing any of this shit. You know? That's why you shouldn't be doing this. And now, speaking of intimidation, I would like to show you this.
Well, that would be, by definition, the Vanderbilt University Medical Center's board of directors. And we're going to name them here and restraint. Well, that would be, by definition, the Vanderbilt stop against this. But they're not doing that because it's just too profitable to destroy the lives of kids. So who should be the backstop against this? Who are the people who oversee this who really should be exercising adult wisdom here and restraint? Well, that would be, by definition, the Vanderbilt University Medical Center's board of directors. And we're going to name them now in the hope that these people will do something to stop these crimes before the lives of more children are destroyed. So the board members would include...
So then he goes on to read off all of their names and tell you exactly like who they are and even where you can find them. So he just like basically kind of just doxes them live on TV. Goes, so we found all of their names and here they all are. Yeah, great stuff. Great stuff by Tucker. Great stuff by Tucker. And this is something that he's been doing for a while, okay? A long while. Somebody on Twitter put this together. I think it's an incredibly interesting thing. And so when I tell you that they use things like stochastic terrorism, and when they've been doing this for a while to prepare their audience to possibly even take up arms against people who provide healthcare to children and children's hospitals, I'm not joking. He's been using this exact same type of language and preparing his audience for a fight. Just listen to this.
So, to be clear, Boston Children's Hospital is not ashamed of committing sexual mutilation of children. Gender-affirming care is a euphemism for chemical castration. What is gender-affirming care? Well, it's castrating children. It's exactly what it is. The sterilization and castration of children. No one should put up with this. No parent should put up with this for 1 second, no matter what the law says. Your duty, your moral duty, is to defend your children. This is an attack on your children, and you should fight back.
It's an attack and you should fight back. You should fight. You should take it right to them, huh? We're sick of this. We're sick of this, huh? I'm so sick and tired of these trans people. Oh wait, what's this? What, Tucker, is this what you call fighting back? Woman charged with fake bomb threat targeting Children's Hospital. And what was that again? Boston's Children's Hospital? That same exact hospital that libs of TikTok, Matt Walsh, and Tucker Carlson were all spending all last month rallying against to make seem like was this evil demonic hospital that was chopping up babies' penises and then cooking them up in the bottom of the cellar room as like Korean barbecue or something. We didn't tell her to exactly. We just said that they're killing children and cutting off their body parts for TikTok views, and they need to be stopped. Oh, that's all that I said. All I said is that you need to fight back, and they're attacking your children, and how they're trying to turn them transgender. That's all that I said. What? Bombed? What? Huh? The question you may have is, did Tucker, did libs of TikTok, did Matt Walsh, did any of these people? I think it's a little bit of a naive question, but I think it's a real question. It's a genuine question. Did they feel any remorse for the children who were getting leukemia treatment, were getting surgeries, were in intensive care, and those pediatricians who were taking care of them day in and day out? Did they feel bad that their language and the way and what they were calling for led to those people possibly dying, getting organ transplants pushed back with that bomb threat that disrupted the activities of a children's hospital? Did they feel bad? Well, Tucker's going to explain it here a bit.
Claiming it's unsafe for them, that the people who are shocked by what they're doing are actually the criminals here, and that they're getting threatening phone calls. They're going to have to call the DOJ, and anyone who comments on it is going to get a visit from the FBI. But the truth is, people who are horrified by this are not the bad actors. Vanderbilt is the bad actor. Vanderbilt has just admitted on camera to castrating children as young as 13 years old.
That's not what, once again, that's not what castration is. And incredible, horrible things being said by Tucker Carlson and his crew. And he went on again. If that wasn't clear enough for you, here's him talking about it again.
So Boston Children's Hospital is now playing the victim here. Anyone who criticizes this is a threat and a danger, and get DOJ involved. And the Washington Post, the New York Times jump on. Anyone who questions this is evil. But that, of course, is the opposite of the truth.
they're playing can you imagine playing the victim can you imagine a children's hospital playing the victim after somebody attempts to bomb them, or somebody says that they're going to try to bomb them? Can you imagine my goodness, playing the victim after a bomb threat? It disgusting. Have a little bit of morals, why don't you? And here's the progenitor of a lot of this a lot of these talking points, Matt Walsh, talking about it as well.
So I feel perfectly free offering speculations. I'd like to have something better than speculation, but they won't tell us. And so my speculation, my theory of the case, is that this was not a conservative or a critic of gender ideology who called it a threat to Boston Children's. That wouldn't even make any sense. I mean, someone who is actually a critic of what Boston Children's is doing, a critic of gender ideology, you gain nothing. There is no motivation. There is no incentive to call it a bomb threat. No incentive.
That's just untrue. You know the incentive? To scare them. Actual terror. That's the incentivization. To hopefully get them to stop, to impede their the work that they do. And this isn't anything different than what conservatives have done and continue to do to abortion clinics. Remember how doctors were killed for performing abortions on people who needed them? Remember how we talked about earlier how conservatives would raid and harass and try to kill, murder, mutilate? You know how there are people who had to stand outside of abortion clinics to stop like conservatives from trying to dox and call in SWATs and all that type of shit to like to abortion clinics? Yeah, Dr. Tiller. Dr. Tiller is a doctor who was murdered by conservatives for performing abortions on children who were assaulted, on people who had like non-viable pregnancies, on all of these types of people. Yeah, we shot in this church too. Yeah, by these people. They don't care. They never cared. And I mean, I don't know. You can just take a look at this. So here's the person, Catherine Levy, who called in the bomb threat. And would you look at, oh man, contributions? Donald Trump, RNC, Donald Trump, RNC. Man, that's, I wonder if this person would consider themselves a conservative. Man, that's wild. Man, that shit's crazy. Wacky. What year? I believe this is 2020. And she's been donating since 2016. Those specifically were from 2020. She's been giving donos since 2016. But here's another look at it. 2020, 2020. Oh my gosh, look at all this money. Oh my gosh. $100, $750, $150, $150, $45, $45, $100, $100, $30, $50, $50, $100. Oh my gosh. What? Why don't you guys donate like this? What the heck? This is why conservatives go so far. Is because their people don't look at fucking this. This shit's insane. Look at this cash money, bro. So much moolah. We got the money. We got the money. Fake spreadsheet. I mean, Federal Election Commissions of the United States from fec.gov, and here's all of this again on its actual webpage, USA.gov. But whatever, I guess. That's a lot of cash money, bro. And she obviously didn't feel bad about it. Libs of TikTok just went on after the bomb threat was called in to keep on the pressure on Boston Children's Hospital, or my bad, another children's hospital has a gender affirming center which offers puberty blockers and cross-sex I love my cross-sex hormones. Much better than my circle sex hormones. They treat kids as young as 7. One doctor claims puberty suppression just buys time. That's literally true. That's how puberty blockers work. They block puberty. I know this is an incredible line from conservatives to understand, but I will tell you that puberty blockers do indeed block puberty. This is something that I have that I thought that I didn't have to say, but is something that I have to keep telling you. Unfortunately, right? And Tucker Carlson wants to call what doctors are doing, which is treating actual patients, sex crimes, and tell his viewers they have a moral role to dole out instant justice, no matter what the law says. So does this seem like a person who really doesn't want these doctors to be harmed? Really? Really? These are sex crimes, and people committing them should be punished. Now, try to say that out loud anywhere but Fox News. You can't. Why? Because Fox News needs to be taken off the air? Because it's true. That's why. You can't say the true things. You can claim that the earth is flat and no one gets exercise. But when you start saying things like all lives matter or sexualizing my children is a crime, and if you keep it up, I'm going to hurt you because I'm a dad, say that, you're done. Libs of TikTok was banned from the internet. Why? Because it showed documentary evidence of what's happening. Some people described what was happening as grooming. We're not exactly sure what that means, but if it's sexually abusing children, yeah, that's what's happening. Well, that's not what's happening. So, what you're seeing is a society that hates children. You would have to hate children in order to sexualize them, because sexualizing children screws them up for life. Ask anyone who's it's happened to, period. No one should put up with this. No parent should put up with this for a second. No matter what the law says, your duty, your moral duty is to defend your children. This is an attack on your children, and you should fight back. Does this sounds like an insane person calling for violence, right? This is something that any human being can pick up, this type of language here, and it's a little easier to see how it's formed when you're able to when you're able to see the words down on paper. This is Tucker Carlson pushing for more bomb threats, pushing for more violence. This is exactly what it is. You couldn't replace this with any other thing and not say, if I said this about Republicans, I would be clipped and there would be a Republican going, I can't believe they want to kill us all. That's exactly what they all would say. All right. So don't sit here and try and tell me that he didn't literally say kill them. You don't need to, especially when you have such explicit language as this. Right. So these are the type of things that they're working for. OK, these are the type of things that they're pushing for. And lies like this that helps fuel this type of hatred.
People with a sexual agenda, not a political agenda, a sexual agenda, have pushed so hard to make this legal and then fashionable that we've ignored it. But the numbers have been there. In 2011, researchers in Sweden released the results of a study that lasted 3 decades. That study found that people who underwent, quote, gender-affirming surgery were 19 times more likely to kill themselves than people who hadn't, the general population.
So once again, remember when he said that, so for 3 decades, they were able to find a lot of trans people and able to make a study in 2011? Really? For 30 years? Coming up to 2011, whatever happened to trans people not existing? Whatever happened to trans people being so incredibly fringe that nobody even knew that they existed? Whatever happened then? That's wild. That's incredibly odd. That's very strange. And I would like to show you a little bit of this study. It's an incredibly interesting study because I've seen this study before and a lot of other people have seen this study before. And we can just take a look at, so here it is, right? 2011. And so here's the study. We can go down and we can find like results and everything. And right under the results, we can find the conclusions, because this is the bane of all conservatives, the conclusion of studies, which is something that they hate. They hate it when you actually read what the researchers have to say about their own study, and they can't just simply make their own opinion and lie about it. Persons with transsexualism, and I'm sorry, but this is very old language. It is from 2010. After sex reassignment surgery have considerably higher risk of mortality, suicidal behavior, and all of these things. Our findings suggest that reassignment surgery, although alleviating dysphoria, may not suffice as treatment for transsexualism and should inspire improved psychiatric and some care after sex reassignment for this patient group. And so all of this is saying is that simply getting surgery is not going to just instantly fix all of your issues when it comes to how you feel about yourself and the way in which you interact with society and things along those lines. It's not going to instantly fix all of your issues, right? That will bring you in line with and a lot of the general population. But an incredibly interesting thing is that instead of comparing how people who get sex reassignment surgery, the incredibly interesting thing is how they only compare people who got sex reassignment surgery to people who aren't trans, like the general population. And that's what they were comparing. They did not compare how people who got sex reassignment surgery and how they actually felt compared to people who didn't but wanted it. That's the real comparison that we need to figure out here, because it's not about will this instantly fix all of the problems. That is a child's understanding of medical procedures. What we need to figure out is this helpful, and how much does it help? And thankfully, there have been studies about that already. Here's this one from Harvard. The study examined data from 2015 transgender survey, in which included 20,000 participants, 38% of whom identified as transgender women, 32% as trans men, and all of this type of stuff, right? Gender affirming surgeries were associated with a 42% reduction in psychological distress, which I think is that's pretty good. 44% reduction in suicidal ideation when compared to transgender diverse people who did not go through surgery but wanted it. Wow, that's incredible. 44%. You almost cut the rate of like suicidal ideation in half. And remember, suicidal ideation and actually committing suicide are two incredibly different things. Anybody who used to be 14 and listened to Fall Out Boy and My Chemical Romance, who is still here to talk about it, can understand that. And a 35% reduction in tobacco smoke usage. And one thing it also reduces, if you that this didn't cover, is also risky sexual behavior as well. So it brings people to be in a much better place. But he doesn't want to talk about any of this because this is bad for the agenda. He has an agenda, and he doesn't want and he doesn't want anything else to stop it. But one incredible thing that I want to show you, one thing I'm going to leave you off with, to prove that Tucker Carlson does not care about children and never has, I want to show you a few clips, and this isn't just one, this isn't just two, these are a couple clips of Tucker Carlson throughout the years about things that he had to say about children and how they should be treated in society. And I have to tell you a little bit of a content warning here for what he says, because I'm going to tell you now, it's not very good. This is one of a couple.
An unusual one anyway, a lap dance in front of the entire class. Alicia Smith, pictured on the screen, accused of grinding on the 15-year-old, putting her head between his legs and fondling him. Smith reportedly admits to doing all this, but only after the rest of the class, she says, convinced her to.
Okay.
So, I think legitimate opinion divides whether this was appropriate for the classroom or not.
Just a matter of legitimate opinion. Is this okay? Is it not? Who knows? Teachers grinding on little children. Is that okay? I think we could have a reasonable discussion about this. Oh my gosh.
Not. But
literally everyone's losing it. All of the women are genuinely losing their minds about this.
Hold on, so let me finish. There are people out there who believe that there ought to be criminal sanctions brought against this woman, and I think that's deranged.
So if the class had
because there's no victim here.
If the class
it's just this is a crime, but there's no victim. Yeah, police. I know we just talked about how police are cringe, but listen, police. If there's a railroad track nearby, you may need to grab this guy up, and I'm just gonna leave it there. You just do your thing. Just do your thing. So there's a railroad track nearby.
class had tried to convict her or convince her of committing a crime like killing somebody, which you've done it to.
But this isn't a crime. That's the point I'm making. A crime suggests a victim, and
what do you mean there's no victim?
If you send me links, I probably have the link already.
No, there's a 15-year-old kid, and then you have a grown-up teacher.
There's a 15-year-old boy.
15?
And so it's having been a 15-year-old boy, I can tell you, unless there's something we don't know about this kid's life has not been
I have taught 15-year-old boys. I assure you they are still kids.
This is the
they may be laughing, but I assure you.
This is disgusting. They are children. Yeah, but they like it. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna vomit, bro. Yeah, his career just continued after saying this.
I mean, you're not embarrassed?
Well, no, look, I'm not saying I want this going on in my kid's school. I'm just saying let's spare the outrage here and just be real about it.
What are you talking about? She put her head between his legs.
Okay, she was, acting out a lap dance.
Remember how he had all of this outrage for like pride events? Remember how he had all this outrage for pride events and everything? When children weren't getting lap dances, but then when they actually were getting lap dances, but by straight people, now he thinks it's based. I'm losing my mind. Lie about gay people giving kids lap dances, but then just be okay with children actually getting lap dances. It's not, this is disgusting. And I promise you, it goes on and it gets worse.
What's going on in the world of politics today, Brett?
Well, I don't know about the world of politics, so I'm just reading the story, trying to figure out how to get it into our show tonight about the...
This is Tucker Carlson on a radio show, just so you know. He called into a radio show, and this is him talking to the host about this.
About the kid, the 13-year-old who was, I guess, molested, they're saying, by his teacher, who had sex with him 28 times in 1 week.
Now, did you just hit the wire just now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a picture of this beast.
Really?
She's from Delaware, Rachel Holt.
Right.
She's, let me see, she's 5 feet tall, 165 pounds.
And she's the teacher.
She's the teacher, and she slept with this kid 28 times in 1 week. Now, I ask you...
In 1 week?
You have a lot of experience. You've been around, right? Could you do that?
Could I sleep with well, not a kid, but can I sleep with a woman?
Could you sleep with a 165-pound woman 28 times in 1 week? Are you physically capable of doing that, or do you take your hat off to this kid?
Just so you know, this is the child defender who's saying nice work, child, by being R-worded 28 times. Good job, dude. Wow. Yeah, this is normal human behavior. All right. This is like a child. He is unironically a child rape defender. That's what he is. He is a CSA enthusiast and a defender. Wow, that's crazy. I'm not saying that I want this to happen in my schools, but come on, stop being so triggered.
Yeah, this kid should get like a Nobel Peace Prize.
The Presidential Medal of Freedom, yeah. Anyway.
But at the end of the day, but see, now, as double standard as everybody wants to be, it just seems like so much more of a crime from this beast than it does the Deborah LaFave, does it not?
Totally. I mean, look, my theory on this is, 13-year-old boys have one goal, obviously, in life.
To get laid.
Of course. And they take that out on...
No, actually. When I was 13, my goal was not to get laid. It was to play video games with my friends when I got home from school. It was to ride on my Razor scooter and play Bakugan. That's what that's what my goal as a 13-year-old was. It was to ride bikes with my friends around the neighborhood and to see how long we can hang on the monkey bars. That's what my goal when I was 13 was. Not to get laid, and I think most other 13-year-olds think the same thing. If I'm going to be honest, I wanted friends. I wanted friends when I was 13. This is insanity. This is disgusting. So, and I even think that like a lot of the people listening to this, they're trying to joke about it. They're trying to meme their way out of it. But he just brings it right back in. They can't escape.
On 13-year-old girls. Now, 13-year-old boys getting laid, not a bad thing. 13-year-old girls getting laid, bad thing. Particularly if the 13-year-old girl is your daughter.
See,
right?
why are we so double standard in the fact that 13-year-old boy getting a little booty, it just.
I just want to make sure you all heard that right.
Getting laid, bad thing. Particularly girls. Now, 13-year-old boys getting laid, not a bad thing. 13-year-old girls getting laid, bad thing. 13-year-old girls. Now, 13-year-old boys getting laid, not a bad thing.
He said it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. Not a bad thing. That's horror. That's disgusting.
It doesn't really matter who it is. I mean, I guess it really does. But I mean, in our messed up mind. But boy, as soon as it's a 13-year-old girl, everybody wants to, burn that person at the stake.
Because when a 13-year-old boy is 35, he can barely remember the girls he slept with when he was 13.
That's true.
Any, right? But a 13-year-old girl, when she's 35, she's still thinking about that guy. I mean, it's just a much deeper experience for girls at that age, and they're not ready for that.
Girls are far more screwed up than we are. We can just have sex and screw and be done with it.
I'm just okay. This is actually really bad, just so you know. This leads people to think things along the lines of like men, it's okay. It's boys aren't as negatively affected by being assaulted as like women are, which is incredibly factually incorrect thing. That is not true. In some regards, when men and boys are assaulted, they can experience more problems than women can outside of the whole pregnancy thing. But being able to talk about it with people and like be able to open up when it comes to their feelings and everything, and feeling of inadequacy. We'll talk about that a little bit more. But there was like a really interesting study that just released that I think was like the final clip, the final like nail in the coffin for understanding why men act the way that they do, especially after they get hit with trauma. And a big thing that came from that study was that trauma leads to things like anxiety and leads to scars, and scars make you feel inadequate as a man, and inadequacy as a man makes you like depressed, angry, makes you lash out and things along those lines. So it's all like tied together. The more trauma that you get, the more damaged you become. And the damage is exacerbated through the lens of masculinity and intensified, and that's why we see differences when it comes to like men and women when we like see trauma. It's a lot because of like the masculinity thing, and like growing these boys up through this sort of like disgusting masculinity that like sweeps CSA under the rug is genuinely disgusting. But I'm sorry, but there's still one more clip that I must show you.
When she's in a dormitory type setting and these little girls start experimenting around, next thing you know, you got a lesbian on your hands.
I don't think that's likely.
Next thing you know, Brett, what's going on in the Combe dormitory? Nothing. I don't got a PSP to play. I ain't got nothing going on. I ain't got my mom and dad here to tell me that they love me and tuck me in bed. So here's Trixie, and she wants to explore my body a little bit. So hey, let's go crazy. Wow.
That if it weren't my daughter,
that's one theory.
Well, I mean, it's
I just can't, and I just think that's pretty unlikely.
Can you tell him, as outlandish as that is, how old is your daughter?
14.
Mr. I care a lot about children. Mr. We love children here, bro. We're so good to children, man. I just care about the children, my guy. I just care about the children. That's what I care about. Sure. Okay, buddy. This is who Tucker Carlson really is, all right? That's what he really believes. Don't believe any of his lies when it comes to trans people, when it comes to things that he says that he cares about. They're not true. He's hiding much more insidious beliefs that he used to be far more open and cavalier talking about. These days, he tries to keep it under wraps, especially now he's trying to position himself as Mr. Morality when it comes to shitting on trans people and gay people. But this is what we experience now. This is what we're going to have to be dealing with now. And those clips should be everywhere. They should be everywhere. No possible way that somebody like him should be able to escape those types of clips. And because he's a conservative, they don't really care. It doesn't really matter. And we can believe it's for a bunch of different reasons. One big reason is that could be possible is that a lot of them don't care that much. But that loops back into our Republican family values segment. We may even need to do another one sometime soon, but that's ridiculous. If you know anybody who needs to see something like this, share it with them, because it's much as disgusting and hard to listen to this stuff as it is. It's vitally important to understand the world that we live in, because they're trying to make it worse. Be the reason why it's better. Okay?